Hello 5030s, how are you? Thank you very much for coming to my website and checking out this video. This video is going to be something that you need to watch in order to be prepared for class on December 2nd. It's just supposed to serve as a very brief introduction. It doesn't even hit all the high points. That's going to be for the class discussion that we have on December 2nd. But in order to get an idea of the time frame for what a video would be that I would give my students when I flipped my classroom, we did this little job right here. So you're going to need some materials, and these materials are, get this little arrow going, you're going to need a piece of 8.5 by 11 printer paper, a writing utensil, scissors, and maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And I know some of you are probably like, 15 to 20 minutes? I didn't sign up for this. It's Thanksgiving. Why do I need to spend 15 to 20 minutes? It probably won't even take that long. Oh, something else to consider about this video. If at any time you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video, because it's a lot less disrespectful to say, hey, Mr. Moulton, slow down, if I'm not in the room. So feel free to pause the video to write down any of the notes, and please make sure that you complete all of the notes. You will get a bonus prize when you come into class on December 2nd when you show me your foldable. All right, thank you. Alright, so the setup. What you're going to need to do is make a fold so that there is a vertical line down the middle of the piece of paper. So here you go, here's your example, here's your vertical line down the middle of the piece of paper. And then you're going to make 3 cuts so that you have 4 even spaces on the left side of the paper. So that means just on one of the halves, you're going to make a cut from the outside to the middle. So you have 4 sections for this foldable. Okay, this is where you get to laugh at my penmanship while you're sitting at home in your pajamas, probably drinking hot chocolate or whatever with your family. Okay, so the labels for these 4 different flaps, what you're going to do is you're going to take the top label. This is folded back together again. The top label, you're going to label that as our objective. See, isn't that beautiful? Slash flipped model definition. So we have our objective and our flipped model definition. And because this is University of Georgia, I will go ahead and do the red and black. So the next one will be our conceptual framework for what a flipped classroom is. So conceptual framework. The third flap is going to be the goals for a flipped classroom, and the very last flap is going to be a list of resources for flipped classes. In the first flap, so I want you to unfold it so you have just the first flap open. This is our learning objective and our flipped model definition. Our learning objective is going to be that we will develop a basic understanding of flipped classrooms. So the learning objective, we will develop a basic understanding of flipped classrooms. Man, that looks great. The flip model definition that we are going to be working with is a teaching model where instruction is outside of the classroom and quote-unquote homework is done in class. So our learning objective, we will develop a basic understanding of flipped classrooms, and our flip model definition is a teaching model where instruction is outside of the classroom and homework is done in class. At this point, I've already become annoyed with my own handwriting, so I figured I'd spare you at least for this slide. So please copy down this conceptual framework. So the classroom flip, it does a few things that influence the learning environment. The first one is it uses educational technology in order to influence the learning environment. So that educational technology most of the time is going to be the cell phone, it could be a kid's computer, it could be a Nintendo Wii, an Xbox, whatever medium that they use in order to be able to view the videos. That technically becomes educational technology, and it influences the learning environment, which is really kind of cool that you're able to capture the use of those items and make it relevant to what you're doing in your classroom. The classroom flip also provides an opportunity for learning through activity, and by watching the lectures at home or watching the videos at home or wherever it is they're watching them, it frees up that time in class to actually dive into deeper, more meaningful activities than just sitting there and watching a teacher lecture for 45 minutes to an hour. And that in turn influences the learning environment. In our third flap, the goals of a flipped classroom. Hopefully you haven't drawn a line down the middle of the page, and if you did, then you were probably cussing at me in that on that last slide. But if you did, then you should erase it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, put some white over it. That way you're just going to pretend like, oh, it wasn't even there. All right. So this might be intimidating. You do not need to draw this. The thing that I want you to pay attention to is that the goals for a flipped classroom, there are essentially 3 of them, because there are 3 different locations and 3 different times that the student is going to be engaging with the content. So the first thing that I would recommend, let's go ahead, let me make sure I have, okay. So in this next flap, what I would do is I would say that there are 3 different times. So I would write down the word before, I would write down during, and then I would write down after. And you could even get to the point where what you do is you divide it into something like this, so that you have your clear mark of what is in class, what is out of class. So before class, the students are going to prepare to participate in class activities. If you need me to zoom in, if you're watching this on your cellular telephone, then we'll go ahead and we'll zoom in a little bit. So students before class are preparing to participate in class activities, so that could be watching lectures, it could be taking notes on specific items. During class, the students practice applying the key concepts with feedback from the teacher. That's the really important thing, is that they have that feedback with the teacher. And then back outside of classroom again, they're going to check for their understanding, or they're going to check their understanding and extend their learning. And that could be with additional videos, it could be enrichment activities. Really, the possibilities are endless. But the key thing, the thing that makes it so important and so successful, is that during class they're able to actually struggle with content and have somebody there that they can bounce ideas off of, and someone that they can reach out to for support with the material before they're going home and working on homework and getting frustrated because they don't have anyone to talk to about the content. Okay, the fourth flap, resources to flip a classroom. Materials, really, the materials are endless. The things that I use are an iPad, a stylus, but I've seen people do it with other tablets. On occasion, I've made videos with my phone. I use my computer to make slides and then put them into this app that I use on the iPad. I have my own website, which apparently you have found because it's that's where you watch this video. So, I mean, the materials are not really you could do it with really whatever materials you have. There are some really good websites that you could use that already have videos made or are great resources for flipped classrooms. Ones that I have used before are Khan Academy and Edpuzzle. YouTube, that's where I host all of my videos. I've seen people use Edmodo, Moodle, and Schoology. I wanted to say Schoolology, but I'm adding in an extra O and an L. But if you know of others, please write them down and share them when you come to class. Okay, one last thing before we're done, and then just give you an idea of what to expect for the December 2nd class. So on the back side of this foldable, so there's one side that we have not written anything on. So on the back side, I want you to write down any questions you have. So some examples of questions that I definitely have not covered are: how much time does it take to make one of these videos? How'd you make the videos? How do you grade when you flip a classroom? What do you do if there's team planning involved? What sorts of changes did you notice in your classes? What about kids without internet connection? Because I mean, a lot of these things, it depends on the type of population you have at your school. It depends on, I guess, administration buy-in to you taking the chance and doing this. So yeah, there's lots of different questions that could be asked. So on December 2nd, there will probably be about a 30-minute period where I talk about the flipped classroom. I'll give a presentation that I gave at a conference back in Houston, and I'll tell you that story too, which is kind of funny. But I hope that you're having a very fantastic Thanksgiving break, or you have if you're watching this at 8:45 in the morning before class begins on December 2nd. I will talk with you all soon. Have a wonderful day.